Big Trouble in Little China is a fantasy action film directed by John Carpenter and stars Kurt Russell. Now this film is actually a pretty fun film for what it is. There is a good chance not a lot of people have heard of it because, for those who don't know, this film, like when it was released back in 1986, did not do so well. It was basically a box office disaster and it didn't do so well, and it forced John Carpenter to move away from big movie productions into independent indie films. But since its release nearly 30 years ago, the film has slowly started to gain a bit of a cult following, and it's now regarded as one of John Carpenter's best work. Now the film is actually a pretty good action film for what it is. The action is good, the set pieces are good, even the visual effects, at the time, they still hold up pretty well. The film is about Jack Burton, played by Kurt Russell, who is trying to help his friend who is getting prepared to get married with this woman, but she is kidnapped by wizards and it's up to Kurt Russell and his sidekick to go and save her. The interesting thing is, the film does things different than other action films. Most action films, they just rush in, they rush right into the action. Now this film actually has a decent story behind it. The action pieces are good and there's quite a bit of them throughout its 90-minute runtime, but the story actually also helps, pull the movie through, and that is actually what's key to this film's, success. I don't know why it got the mixed reception that it did back when it was released, but now it's considered one of the great cult classic films, and you can see why. The cast was good, the action was good, the set pieces were good, even the visual effects were amazing, everything, was perfect. But except this film does have a few flaws that kind of do stick out. One of the major problems for this film for me is there's a real lack of tension in the film. Throughout most of the film, every time the heroes try to do something heroic and they, nearly save the girl, something goes wrong, and I would expect, the characters, have a little bit of a falling out with each other. That never really happens. It's okay, this thing happened, so yeah, let's move on. So there's not enough time for the tension, and so just basically, the incident happens, and then basically, they have the little scuffle, and then that's it. They completely forgive each other for the mistake they made to save this woman, and it's just, I don't know, just to me for me, I need tension in films, to draw me in, and I was kind of, taken out of the film quite a few times when this happened, and there is a bit of that lack of tension. Another problem I have with this film is just the characters, act a little bit too happy sometimes, just when something goes wrong, they don't get too frustrated, just I actually felt it was too light, and a lot of the subject matter, it is pretty dark in tone, but I know it was designed this way to be a little bit light, and it is, PG-13 rated or M rated, whatever country you're from, but the thing that needs, I basically need in films, to have the hero characters, have little spats at each other, get angry at each other sometimes. To me, they all felt too friendly with each other, and the acting is a bit hit and miss. It's actually pretty okay for what it is, but no. So basically, yeah, the only flaws I have with this film is there's just a real lack of tension, and the characters, act a little bit too happy at some points. They don't show it to be happy, but there's just a lack of them being, oh, this is your fault, something went wrong, this is not how it was meant to go, and that kind of did a little bother me. But this film is still a pretty good film, and I'm going to give this film an 8.5 out of 10. Thank you for watching this video. If you like what you see, be sure to click that subscribe button. Thank you for watching.